Well, I needed less time to kind of get started today, so I'm cutting the song short. Apologies, folks, if you were enjoying that, but you can check it out through Laguna Munta. Just type that on in. Indie rock and roll. Please support. I hope you folks are doing well today. Let's see if I can get this going. Yeah, it's going. Howdy, folks. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. I hope you're having a good new comic book day. We're doing what you're reading, and then maybe some updates and some other chatting today. Um, let's see here. Probably going to dive right into it, but I hope you folks are doing well today. Um, where do I want to start? It's a good question. Got a lot of, I actually got a lot of reading done this last week, which was nice. It's kind of rare. The last couple weeks that I got like a good chunk of reading. I think last week I got most of it done right before the show, actually, which was it's fine. Uh, I just like I don't want to show up to one of these things with just like an issue of Gru read, right? I might one day, but for now there will be a Gru issue read, but it's not the only thing I read. I guess we'll dive straight into this because there's a good fair amount of digital I read that I'm not going to talk about on a volume to volume basis because that would be crazy because how much I read, but an overall vibe that I really like. But we're going to start here. This was released, God, just a couple weeks ago in the U.S. Alita, Battle Angel, Mars Chronicle, Volume 7. So I am caught up till February. I'm super sad I gotta wait till February for the next one of these. Um, but I spoke about, I think, volumes, I want to say 5 and 6 last week. I think, or no, maybe that was even the week before, because I've been waiting on this one. And partway into volume 5, it still had me kind of lost. Volume 4, volume 5, volume 3 through halfway volume 5 were the author likes to go wandering is the best way I can put it. The mangaka, he likes to wander, right? At least it comes off as wandering. He goes a different direction that doesn't really feed into the vibe he's been doing before. But then he comes back, and he's done that twice so far in the entire Battle Angel Alita series. Starting with the original and then Last Order and this. He didn't do it in Battle Angel Alita more than for like a chapter. But in Last Order, he did it for like 3 volumes at a point, and it's 3 sequential volumes. Omnibus number 3, if you're buying in the U.S. And then in this, he did it for like I said, about 2.5 volumes. And both times he almost lost me. Both times I've been super glad I stuck with it. Part of that is that he wants to deliver a very specific message with a character that hasn't already been established, right? Or sometimes a set of characters that haven't been established. And so he wants to get a certain idea across, and that wandering is about the only way I guess he feels he can do it. Um, so I hope it doesn't continue to kind of go off track and then back because it does break the pacing, which is funny because that's how I write. I do a lot of, and now for something completely different. I do that I do the Monty Python thing a little bit like that idea, right? In my own work. Within the same issue, within the same chapter, I do it. So it would almost be more frequent, I would say. So I'm not, I can recognize it. I don't think I do it better. But when you're doing this massive long form storytelling and then you take a good chunk of time to focus on something almost unrelated, I'm gonna say it's never like a full pivot, right? It's never like now we're in a medieval fantasy adventure. No, no, no. It still says sci-fi. The closest he did to that was in Last Order when he pivoted to vampires. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are vampires in my cyberpunk story? Um, and yeah, you almost lost me there. And I guess a lot of readers actually he did lose there, where they're like, well, what the fuck are you doing? And I get that. I totally get that. But in all honesty, he justifies it. At least to me. If you stick with it long enough, there's a reason. There's an idea. Part of the thesis, part of the exploration he's trying to do in the overall work. That was a facet that was over here that he wanted to incorporate. So to do that, he had to go over there. And I think that's what he when that happens, I think that's what's happening, right? And there's probably a smoother way to go about it, but one that's less bumpy and less likely to lose your readers. But he's never made it feel unjustified. In Last Order, it was vampires. In Mars Chronicle, it was the supervillain, just out of nowhere. Now it's a supervillain story, um, which it's a cyberpunk story, right? So even way back in the original Battle Angel Alita run, um, you would get arcs with the villain, right? Even if you've just seen the movie, the swordsman in the movie gets a huge arc in Battle Angel Alita the manga. A very long, very cool arc. A lot of darkness. He likes darkness, but it never felt disconnected. Where when he hit the vampire, which was not quite a vampires is what it becomes, but it's the last vampire. When it's introduced, she's the last vampire, and then we go back into her story and see the last vampires during the apocalypse. And that one was justified because he wanted to explore biological immortality and not just cybernetic immortality, which is a big theme throughout Last Order and really Battle Angel Alita. The whole thing is trying to explore what is human, how many parts you can replace and still consider yourself, um, and all of that. There's a lot of really cool concepts that are put forward, right? A lot that you can tell that's why what drives him to continue the series. Besides, I'm sure the paycheck. Um, but anywho, with Volume 6 and Volume 7 of Mars Chronicle, he's back on like this origin story of Yoko and Erica. Erica is slightly teased in Last Order. This takes place about 300 years in the past, Mars Chronicle. It takes place before Yoko becomes Alita by far. Before she's put to the scrapyard, right, and then found by the good doctor and repaired. All that great storyline. That storyline's almost concluded. What he's doing is he's trying to, I think, tie her beginnings and the origin that he had in her with her, and the journey and the thesis and her discoveries of the actual work together in a full circle. I think by the time this ends, he'll do that. I hope, like many, that he gets to finish it. I hope it's Mars Chronicle and then he's done. I hope it doesn't pull another set of Toriyama where he's done, but he needs to continue working because the company needs him or whatever. Um, Toriyama, I mean, his writing always kind of lent his seat of his pants, so it was fine. This, I think if he goes any more seat of his pants, it'll ruin it. So far it's good. So far, the supervillain story was to really paint Erica and to justify the kind of character he needed her to be. Um, but that wasn't evident when you started reading the supervillain thing, so that's where you could probably lose some readers, just like the vampire thing in Last Order. But he's overcome that at this point, and now you're starting to see why he did that to justify what Erica becomes, and their interesting relationship between Yoko and Erica, and then he's going to want to emphasize that split, and then that split's going to come full circle into the current, I'm gonna say, the post Last Order Alita, and I'm curious how that manifests. The last time we saw her, still even by Volume 7 on this, was I think Volume 2 or 3, when we see modern, I'm gonna say modern, present Alita and modern Erica. Uh, Meet again for the first time in like 300 years, and Erica remembers and Alita barely remembers. And it's an interesting dynamic. But then it cuts away into the past, and we're still in the past. And I don't know how much longer we're going to be there, but probably a while since this is infant Yoko, and she hasn't been trained yet. She hasn't. matured yet, right? Um, we do find out, and it's a big spoiler, so I'm not gonna. And it, I think the spoiler kind of ruined Alita as a character for some people. Didn't for me. Um, I think it's another facet, another mechanism of the thesis he's trying to do on identity. But some people might not like it because it paints paints Alita as something else. But I think that was the point, and some people just might not like it. It might not be to their taste. Um, but I don't want to spoil it. So if you wanna know what I'm talking about, you're gonna have to catch up. But uh, this was good. This was good. It was worth a couple weeks waiting for it to come out. I hope Volume 8 is worth the wait till next year for it to come out. Um, but I'm unbelievably happy with this series as a whole. I mean, again, it's had two big lows, but throughout all of it, it's had incredible art. Um, would focus on darkness without going too far, except in the supervillain bit. Again, he really wanted to pound that darkness home, and it made it difficult for me to want to read. But then he justified it, and now we're back to the pacing and the vibe and the feel I'm used to with his work. So we'll see where it goes. Um, I mean, I could talk about specifics, I guess, but it's not. I guess one spoiler is by volume 7 here. By the end of volume 7, we've introduced Yoko to the Kunstlers, the folks who practice her big legendary martial art throughout the whole series, Panzerkunst. Um, so that's cool. So we are building that history now, and we are starting to get the mechanisms. And I'm very curious. You know, I think he's probably gonna want to end it when she dies and gets tossed out of the Sky City and into the scrapyard. I think that's he's going to tie it to a full circle, and that would be wonderful. I think that's a good way to go with this. But I don't know how, with where he started and how young Yoko is. Yoko's like 4 or 5 years old, um, maybe. Again, once again, she's a very interesting. Um, how she exists is very interesting. It's not a normal birth, I guess, is the best I could say. Not even close. But yeah, I'm very curious. I'm very curious where it goes. And this volume was really fun. I tore right through it. Um, good action, a new city, a bunch of new kind of interesting characters, which he's usually pretty good at. Paneling, pacing, everything was great. I mean, it's a pro. It's a professional work, and it fucking reads like it. And he's back to the vibe I'm used to. So I'm excited for Volume 8 when it comes out. And I recommend catching up on Battle Angel Alita. And if you get to any of those speed bumps, which I have heard a lot of people hit and don't go over, I do recommend going over them. And you might be one of the few folks like myself who really enjoys what he's trying to do with those speed bumps. That's about the best I could say. Available now if you haven't, if you've caught up and if you're up to volume 6 and you want volume 7, keep going. It's really good. It's really good. Howdy, El Crudo. I hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping on in on what you're reading. Always good to see you in whatever form, right? Um, yeah, Lita Mars Chronicles still pretty good, but it almost lost me, and almost lost me a lot earlier than Last Order almost lost me. Like Last Order, I had that false investment fallacy kind of come up, where it's like, well, I'm already this far into it, I'm gonna have to keep going, and I'm glad I did, but this one almost lost me enough where I was like, well, shit, I'm not that far into it. Last Order ends well enough, and so does the original run, so maybe I don't have to keep going. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, and I think I understand the plan he's going for, and I hope he gets there. Uh, I don't know how old this mangaka is, but it looks like he's pacing himself better than a lot of them. Um, and with Miura passing before Berserk finishing, I'm now gonna always be skeptical if a mangaka is gonna be able to finish their long form work. Like I'm terrified Oda won't be able to finish. Uh, so we'll see, but definitely recommended. Definitely recommended. I guess I'll put that down there. I think I'm gonna save the digital reads for last. Um, So we'll skip on over that for now. But spoiler alert, it's 6 volumes of Shaman King. So we got a lot to talk about with Shaman King, but we'll get there. Now we got our 2 Western fairs, and let's do the work that's gonna appear every What You Read. An issue of Sergio Aragones's Gru the Wanderer. This is issue number 36. It continues the story in 35, which I thought kind of just ended and was going to be the next one, but it bounces off of it while again being self-contained, which is the kind of comic book writing I'm trying to do, and which Aragones and team are really good at. Um, where they can keep it self-contained enough that you'll enjoy it, you'll have a bunch of good jokes, and then you can continue the story, which kind of is note for note, right? It's not an overarching huge quest or anything, but there's arcs. This one finishes the Amulet arc, is what I'm going to call it, which I don't know how many issues there were, maybe 3 or 4 issues in this Amulet arc, where Gru is recovering half of an amulet for a wizard, and then the 2 ongoing witch characters, Arba and Dakarba. Um, and hijinks ensue when he gets the amulet together and he becomes all powerful. This takes place right after he wishes for a whole bunch of cheese dip and has ruined all his friends' lives with the amulet, trying to help them. This one, he tries to help them even further. He's trying to make up for his mistake, and so one of his big warrior friend, the one who's like the actual Conan or the Hercules of his world that Gru's supposed to contrast to. Um, he was about to slay his 1,000th dragon. So Gru's like, huh, was he about to slay his 1,000th dragon, or was he slaying 1,000 dragons? I don't know. It's about the same, and so he wishes him to fight 1,000 dragons. And through the issue, this guy's just lopping off heads. It's gonna take me all day. The guy's not scared of slaying 1,000 dragons. It's gonna be slow and monotonous. And I thought that was hilarious because even the artwork really uh, it's a bunch of fucking dragons. He's big, intimidating. I don't know. I love that contrast where this he's just such a powerful hero. He knows he's gonna be fine. It's a speed bump and it's these massive killer lizards. Very cool. Um, his the bard's on the cover because he wishes the bard couldn't rhyme, and that's literally his entire character. Um, his sister he had pulled from getting married or being proposed to by a prince that she really liked. So he wishes that she would have someone as brave and as strong and as smart as Gru. Uh, and so that ruins her day as well because somebody shows up who's as brave, smart, and strong as Gru. So basically just strength and stupidity. Um, Arba and Dakarba get a hold of the amulet for a little bit. They go play. They go mess with one of the wizards who was messing with them, trying to get their powers back. But Gru gets the amulet back, wishes them away. The sage is still trying to get the amulet from Gru the whole issue, just saying, "Gru, give me the amulet," just over and over again. Um, and Gru doesn't give it to him because he just wants to help, and the possibility of the amulet super intrigues Gru. But the end of it, he just wishes that the amulet didn't exist because it's so much trouble, and he gets praised for it. He's like, the sage says, most of the time you're doing the right thing at the wrong time or doing the wrong thing at the right time. But sometimes, Gru, you can do the right thing at the right time. And that's how it ends. And that was kind of cool, seeing Gru get some praise. It might be the first time in like 36 issues that Gru gets just praise. And that was kind of cool. There's a lot of build up to it, and it felt good. It also continues to the ongoing joke of slow of mind, where it'll be panels or pages later after he's called slow of mind that he's like, wait, what do you mean slow of mind? This is like an issue later, and the guy and he clicks on it. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That's playing with this medium and the ongoing gag as a joke, uh, just so well, so well. Again, I can't recommend Gru by Sergio Aragonés, any of it, any issue you come across enough. I haven't come across a bad issue, just some are more funny than others. I was thinking for a long time that these were more self-contained. Sometimes they're really self-contained, sometimes there is an ongoing arc, like this is part of an ongoing arc. But they're never so connected to the previous issue or the next issue so important that you can't enjoy the issue itself, which is again the kind of writing I try to do, and I think that's really cool. So as always, Gru the Wanderer, folks. Please pick it up. Please support it. In fact, Dark Horse is releasing a new Gru. Um, Gru crosses over with Tarzan. So I'm curious how that's going to be. But it's New Gru, and it's been a long time since there's been New Gru out. I'm so glad Sergio's still around and producing comic work. Super inspiring. Really cool stuff. Howdy. Oh, wow. Welcome, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Taking the time to check out my little shitty channel. Welcome, welcome. Um, I don't know if I have too much to interest you, but I'm talking about Sergio Aragones, and I was talking about manga before. Uh, I have that's about it. I'm gonna move on to Saving the World by Tonic Mole. That's another crowdfunded issue if you're curious at all. But otherwise, I'm sure you got lots of other things to do that are more important. But I appreciate you taking the time to show up. I didn't even know you were aware of this, so that's kind of neat. So yeah, let's move on. Saving the World by Tonic Comics. Super cool stuff. So, what do I want to say? So he's been producing this pretty consistently for a while. Tonic Comics. Definitely check out the site. I think that's it. TonicComics.com. Well, what do I want to say? Saving the World has this MTV like 90s MTV Beavis and Butthead kind of feel to it, where it's got wit covered up by let's say it's kind of got a little bit of that vibe. It's got that 90s like Clerks and like the Kevin Smith work and oh, that's gonna bug me. Mike Judge work vibe to it. Black and white. The art is definitely loose and cartoony, but it lends it charm. It lends it a whole lot of charm. And the writing is very punchy, and you understand who the characters are very well. You understand the goals, and it's fun. It's quickly paced. The paneling is excellent. Again, the art style might not be up to everybody's, and it does switch to Jim Lawson as well during some bits, which is kind of cool. It's got that rough, edgy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look to it at times, right? Um, so yeah, I hope you're having fun, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Um, I'm gonna just keep talking, buddy. So don't worry about that. I don't know why you're in here to do this, but that's fine. I'm glad you find me worth your time. That's surprising to me, but it's how it goes. How it goes. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. Uh, it follows Kira and Nora, who are just kind of normal teenage kind of kids who end up getting superpowers out of nowhere. I mean, that's a basic kind of mundane story, right? But how it's delivered is just a lot of heart, a lot of love, and a lot of enjoyable writing. It's really punchy, really fun, and the villains are kind of goofball, oddball villains you wouldn't find in another series. One guy's immortal, um, and so they test that out. One guy he can feel other people's depression, and so he wants to kill them to end the suffering, and so they stop that as well. Lillian Wepamet, which it ends with, is a young woman who, when it manifests, it's this dark, out of time shadow demon that kind of is just there to protect her, I guess. And so he takes her through time. It's pretty good, pretty good. But yeah, let's see. Then we're on to the digital, actually. Now we're on to Shaman King, which is a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I am indeed a geek. And if you can smell me from there, I'm actually impressed with my smell. That's uh, that's impressive. I'm not usually that smelly, but it happens. It happens. Let's see. I want to open up Shaman King. Let me go ahead and do that so I can show a little bit of that. Um,
Oh, do I only have those on here? Yeah, so I can only show about volume 6 and up because I had to change the storage space. That's a little annoying. Ah, well, it happens. But yeah, so what I liked about Shaman King and what really hooked me on Shaman King was the respect that it gave the spiritual arts. It's the best way I could put it. It has this humor and this fun way of looking at it. The main protagonist, Yo, his motto is everything will work out, and that's felt throughout the whole thing, and I really appreciate that. Very punchy action. Reminds me, at least the first, I'd say 2 volumes, reminded me a lot of Hellblazer without all the edge and the British connotations, right? But it's got the supernatural angle to it. It's got a little bit of mystery solving to each, and then it evolves into a battle manga, which has been entertaining. The main thing with a battle manga, I think that needs to be landed really well is what you're trying to communicate with the fights. If it's just fight after fight without any development, then you find yourself in a less enjoyable place, right? But this is all, every fight seems to be communicating a clash of ideas or a clash of concepts, and that's consistently entertaining to me. Again, I tore right through it. I'm so glad it's free with Amazon Prime, so that's, if you want to read some of that, that's how I'm reading it. I'm really enjoying it. Um, what else specifically? The 3 main characters again, Yo, Manta, and Anna. It's a really interesting dynamic. Manta's this literally little. He's a tiny little dude uh, who sees you at a cemetery staring at the stars, and that's how they meet. Um, and Manta actually finds out he can see ghosts, and so that's how they kind of connect. And Manta becomes Yo's first friend. Yo is in Tokyo because he was called there for shamanic duties. Uh, there's a long history of shamanic families. The whole concept of Shaman King is that of course, shamans have been through nearly every culture for generations and generations and generations, and it takes this concept of like every 500 years there's a need for a rebirth or a recycle. The Great Spirit asks for it, and they have the Shaman King. They search for the Shaman King, which that's where the tournament and the battle manga part comes in, and it's a trip. Um, the combat has been kind of punchy. There's a lot of dynamics, so it's like your average shonen manga. There's special moves. There's certain dynamics that work and don't work right. They try to emphasize that more than is always enjoyable. Um, but the pacing has been really good, and then each message or each idea that they've tried to communicate really resonated with me, and that's why I'm so far into it. Um, some of the character designs have been really cool. Um, there have been some standout moments, especially at the beginning where it wasn't so battle manga bit, where it really tried to communicate an emotion and tried to communicate a redemption, right? And yeah. Uh, you are my most active chat ever, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, let's see here. That's it there. Might need to keep this one a little bit shorter and come back because there's not too much else to talk about. Um, but those are the reads. That's what I've been reading. Usually I ask chat what they've been reading, but I don't know if this particular chat has any interest in engaging on that more enjoyable level. So I think I'm going to leave it there on the what you're reading part of this. I thank you folks for watching on that. Update wise, our international packets have been arriving finally, so I'm almost done with that. And metal cards are still going out. I'm very grateful for that working out. And I think I think that's really about it. Again, we've been updating the site, got our fan art section up. Very grateful about that. Um, got comment sections on there too, which, I'm not surprised that we don't get too much engagement on there, but that's how it goes. And yeah, actually, that really is about it on here. Um, I'd usually hang longer, but this chat isn't really engaging with me. It's indulging its own ego. So I'm happy to give a platform for that. It doesn't matter to me, but I'm sure I can find better use of my time as they could as well. Um, so yeah. Thank you folks for joining me. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. This has been What You're Reading, number 11. I've been doing this for 11 weeks already. I'm very, very happy about that. I'm glad I've been able to make time every week to be here with you folks. And I'll catch you later on that Rusty IronVerse Comics trail. You folks take care. All my best wishes.